we wonder why we have this association that money is dirty, money is wrong, you got to do bad things to have money.
The parallels of how we grew up with learning about sex is how we grew up learning about money.
Wild Rose! Wild Rose!
Welcome to this week's episode of Wild Roads podcast with Shonah Lee and Paula Ivy, conversations about how we don't do stuff normal. Mm-hmm. Hi Shonah, it's been a few weeks since we've recorded an episode.
Oh my God, hello. It is, I feel out of sorts, to be honest.
We feel a bit rusty.
Yeah, definitely rusty. I miss you. It's just like, where's me?
Like we talk every day, but it's different when we talk face to face.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do feel a little bit rusty, so bear with us because it kind of feels like our first time again.
It doesn't it? Oh gosh. But I tell you what has been brilliant. With our time off, for those of you following at home, we had some time off because beautiful Paula was in the New South Wales flood areas, and so no internet.
No.
No power for on and off intermittently.
Yep.
No way of contacting anyone. There was little phone service. No. Far out, woman.
Yeah, I get like all of a sudden I got like text message, emails, messages from Sean going, "Where are you? Are you okay?
I know.
Just tell me." I'm like, oh my God, I had literally no reception whatsoever. Couldn't even barely could get like old school text messages through. That was about it. And one of our other friends, when I was talking on, finally got through to her to let her know that I was okay. She was like, I was almost about to just come look for you. And I was going to start a hashtag like, where's Paula? Yeah. She's like, I needed to know that you're okay. But yeah, we were fine.
Yeah, it's just really like we're so used to seeing you all the time, every day on the front line, online, and I had messages from people, is Paula okay? Where is she? Is she okay? I was like, I don't know. I've emailed her, I've messaged her, I don't know. And it's just like to the point, it's like, why haven't I got Brendan, Paula's husband's number? Because in case of emergency,
You should actually. But that was the funny thing, because my husband actually was in Sydney. So he left like a day before the floods actually happened, and he flew out to Sydney for a work conference. He was going to this awards night. He won the award though.
Oh yay!
So, yay, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
It was worth him being away and us, having to fend for ourselves for him to do that. But so he was due to fly back a few days later and ended up having to extend because you couldn't get in or out of our town. It was basically an island, so we couldn't get to the airport or anything. But oh yay, they're mowing our lawns now, in case you can hear humming in the background. It sounds at Paula's house. So it was intense. Like the waters came right up to our street. So it was but we live in an amazing community, and everybody just got together, helped everybody out. Everybody was a friend. Everybody just helped everybody. It was an amazing experience to be a part of in that sense. Yeah. But just to witness it firsthand, because, where we lived, it flooded a few years ago, but it wasn't nearly as gnarly as this. And just to be in amongst it, actually, it was, it's a really surreal experience. And I totally get why people get caught out by this, because it's like everything's fine, and then in a split second it's like, oh crap, there's like water everywhere. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. And I mean, we got evacuation notices, but they came like 3 hours after they were originally sent. So it was like, well, it's too late now. But
wow, far out. It's intense. Yeah. And it's interesting, like for me in Victoria, just, helpless. What can I do from here? As well as, just, I guess, worry about you guys and trying to get in contact with you and stuff. But We found you.
It's crazy how much we actually rely on the internet for everything. Everything has some sort of internet reliability on it. Like, it's so crazy. Like, I couldn't even look at the weather forecast to see what was happening in the breaks of weather or check the roads or anything. You kind of had to, get in your car and drive out and go see it for yourself. Or, there was one stage I turned on the free-to-air news, which is so frustrating to watch. And they kept saying another big storm's coming, and then they wouldn't say where or when. And I'm like, okay. And then they'll go back to like the other news, and I'm like, oh, you're not telling like the people in the small towns like when this is going, when you keep scaring us with it. But anyway, so I would send a text message to my husband and say, can you check, can you look at this, and like send it in like written word format back in a text, because I couldn't receive like pictures or like anything.
Gosh,
it's crazy. But anyway, we're sending all of our love out to everybody who was affected by the floods, because it was, and it's still ongoing, and it's a massive, like, I can see how huge a job this cleanup is as well. And it's just amazing that everybody has been so helpful, and everyone's come together. But we're sending out all of our love, because
absolutely made some donations where I can, and to the places where I know that's going to help. So that's all we can do here from Vic.
And I love that our episode today is around money, because money, this is the thing, right? We're going to be talking about money today, and this is such a beautiful area for us to really dive into and really understand and get into the vibes and the energy of it in a real empowering, abundant way. Because so many of us, like, my hand's clearly highly raised in the air right now, like, we struggle with money. And like things like this, like, you have these big disastrous events that happen, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, we need money to be able to like continue on, to be able to rebuild, to be able to buy food and all of these things. And when stuff like that happens, it can put people in a very scary situation that if we all had wealth, that would be one less thing that we would have to really have to focus on in times like this. But okay, well, we've got the money, what do we want to do now? So we're going to be talking about being a badass with money. And I'm so pumped for this. So
me too.
Hashtag awkward question time, Shonah Lee.
Yeah.
What is the most badass thing that you have done for money?
To
receive money. Yeah.
So, as if you've listened to our previous episodes, you know that I have had many career change and done lots of different jobs. But I think that I felt so strong. I was in my early 20s, and for a whole weekend, I don't even know how I got this gig, but basically it was to pull down. It's in Melbourne, in Montmorency, to pull down the old cinema hall building, like demolish it, and I got paid cash. So it was
like demo.
So it was me and my boyfriend at the time, and we got it through his dad. I think he was a brick cleaner. He had his own business and stuff. So it was through someone that needed this building pulled down, because the council were going to obviously make a new building, a new cinema, a new thing. And so, like, I'm this, like, actually, I think I was only 19. I reckon.
Did you have a sledgehammer?
Yeah.
Fucking oath.
I had like crowbars, and I had like big goggles on and my gloves on, and I was like breaking glass in there, just like, that's got to come down, smash on the floor.
That would have been so satisfying.
Oh, it was cathartic. It was therapeutic, actually. It was like you could have had dramatic opera music on, honestly. It was so cool.
You in slow-mo.
Oh. Like, I've never been so sore in my life. And we had, I think I got paid $200 cash or something for the whole weekend.
Sweet.
I know, it was good. It was just like,
Like,
woo.
just go nuts on a house, on like a building. $200 to like completely just total this place.
The
Sure.
funny thing is that it was in the main street of Montmorency, which is a suburb of Melbourne, and people were like severe, like, you know, citizens were coming and going, "Oi, what's going on in here?" Like thinking that, you know,
You're thugs.
thugs,
Street punks.
We're like,
Tearing down the theatre.
it's our job, man. It's our job.
Hey, I was paid to be here.
But that's probably the most badass thing that I've ever done.
That's so cool.
Money, yeah. But you know,
I totally would have done that.
yeah, my kids wouldn't.
But, meh.
Yeah.
Physical exertion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, what about you? What's your story to tell?
So I think the most badass thing that I've ever done for money was I was hired to take photos in a strip club once.
Ooh, how cool.
I know, right?
That's a bit cool.
I know. And so it was held in a strip club. It was this event that I actually was hired to take photos for. So there was an actual event in the strip club, but there were actual, like, there was a few pole dancing women around in this event. So, and there was a lot of celebrities.
Ooh.
I don't think that they were like, I'm pretty sure from memory they weren't, you know, they were like sort of B and C grade Aussie celebrities at this thing. wasn't quite A-list celebrity, but there was a few celebrities there, and we were doing like a launch party for this big festival that I had been hired to do the photography for, that actually never became a thing. It was really upsetting because they ran out of money and funding. Like, it all kind of just imploded on itself.
Yeah.
But it was really, really cool because they were going to put this big event on at the convention center in Sydney. Like, it was going to be like tens of thousands of people at this festival event type thing. There was live music, and they were actually going to do like this was quite a few years ago. This was when I was first sort of out of high school. And they were going to get Jerry Springer in to do like a live show, and it was going to be like this whole like a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. So it was pretty exciting. And then one of the launch parties that they had for it was in a strip club, and the host was, do you know Courtney Act?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the host was Courtney Act and Bianca Dyer, who's like a radio personality here. So got to hang out with them in the strip club, taking photos.
I'm jelly.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Holy snap. And that's deadly stuff. I like that.
That was very cool.
And now
that was an awkward segue.
No, but I'm in awe, to be honest, because man, I would love to have done that. But now, like, it's like we've experienced all this stuff, and now we're creating money and making money by being ourselves. So I'm loving where we're going to go with this episode. I'm excited for it. We've both read a pretty cool book.
So Shonah and I have both read what's that actually called? Being a Badass with Money? No, You're a Badass Making Money.
Yeah. By Jen Sincero.
Jen Sincero. Sincero? Is that how you say it?
Sincero.
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 Jen Sincero. It's a very cool book, and I was listening to the audio version of it, and it's pretty cool hearing her. I like hearing authors read their own books.
Yeah.
And it's a really funny book, and I really liked it because she mentioned one of my favorite money books at the beginning of the book too, which is The Science to Getting Rich. book, which is a really old school. It's kind of like around the times of Napoleon Hill. Yeah, we both read this book, and there's a few other money books that I absolutely love. Creating Money is another good one. That's a sort of an old school one as well. And it really, money is such a huge thing, especially when you are trying to make it yourself. You're not relying on, you know, being employed by somebody else, because Shonah and I both tried that many, many times and it didn't work out for us. So when you do start to build your own business, and especially when it's, you know, you're a personal brand and you're basing your business around who you are and your work and all of these things, it's actually one of the biggest things that I think entrepreneurs focus their time on is, what is my money mindset? Where am I at with money? And how can I shift things that aren't serving me? And how can I have a mindset that's really wealth growth oriented, instead of keeping us into our stories of why we're not working hard enough, we're not worthy of it, that, you know, we have to struggle in order for it to make it in this industry, and all of those things that we had drilled into us growing up. But we've all experienced this in different ways. It's not like you get to a certain point and, you know, a lot of the stories that we tell ourselves are common ones that get told, you know, that are like, you know, cliches. Like the big, like, money doesn't grow on trees and money's the root of all evil. Like, you hear those a lot. And whether you have personally, there's something in your psyche that's attached to that and held on to it, and or not, it's like everybody's kind of got their own stories and their own reasons why they believe the things that they believe. But when you look at the world, it's like there is the top 1 or 2% of people that are making the most amount of money. And it's kind of like, but why? And then you look at all of the stuff that we've got going on inside of our heads around like what money actually means. You're like, well, that's why, because a lot of us believe these things. And it's so interesting when you read books like this as to like why that is and how we can actually shift that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And it's really, I guess the book really brought up, even though I've done some work beforehand and obviously have got to where I am now because I've worked through money blocks and old conditioning and patterns and stuff. But it was really interesting that when she brought up a few topics, and it's just like, holy snap, and I'm actually still doing this now. Like, some things are creeping in, you know, it's like, and it was just a real eye-opener to go, you know, money is just the messenger here. It doesn't actually, it's neutral. It actually doesn't have a feeling. The energy exchanges from person to person, and, you know, the universal intelligence, which she spoke about. But it was just, it's like, you know, it's not the money. The money's the messenger. And it's really, that was really cool to remember and to go, oh, actually, I need to put that more in practice. And I think I found it really liberating when I was speaking to my partner, Simon, about this recently, about how we've been taught by society, teachers, parents, wherever, like to be grateful and, you know, that people are suffering. So, you know, don't have money. So it's an attachment of feeling bad if you do.
And that you're greedy if you want more, because you should be happy with what you've got, and you having more means that the people that don't have any, it means that they're not even going to get any more either, because you're taking it.
That's right. And it was really interesting witnessing what was happening online with the floods and the war that's going on in the moment, and just hearing how the people saying, how dare you be making money, or how dare you sell right now while these people are suffering.
There's people suffering.
That is really, it's rife, and it's something that now I have acknowledgement around what I feel about that. I used to feel really bad for keeping on working when people were suffering, and I couldn't sell online, and I couldn't put my offers out there, and so I would suffer too. And then my kids were suffering. Yeah, I feel like the money work is just so damn important to remember that money is actually love. And while people are suffering, the power that when we do have money to be able to keep us at a energetic level, at your well-being, your mental health, and helping you through that, but not only to give to charity with the exchange of money, but also having that ability where you're not suffering and you're not oppressed, to be able to help people emotionally as well.
Yeah, you can't help people when you're in survival mode yourself.
No.
Yeah, it's such a big thing. It's like if people are suffering, you can't ask for more or be seen as going after more, because you should be doing more to help the people that are suffering and who are in survival mode. And yes, by all means, we are here to help one another. And if somebody else is suffering, that means that I'm suffering as well, because we're all one, like we're all connected. So what other people are going through, I'm not saying that I understand what it is, but humankind, like we're a human species. If one of us is suffering, we're all suffering. We need to be working together and helping each other out 100%. But putting yourself into survival mode is not helping. You're just putting yourself in a position where other people, like, you're needing that help now too. Yeah. So really taking care of yourself and really doing the best that you can and working on yourself and really allowing yourself to receive a lot of money and wealth and abundance and all of the beautiful things, because then you are in a position to really help people, because you're not worried about money and you're like, what do you need? How can I help? I'm a full service, because I am, I don't have anything in my body that's feeling like I can't do this, or if I do that, then I'm not going to have enough, and but I should be grateful because I'm in a better position. But this is the thing, is that all of that is judgment though.
Yeah.
It's like, we've all got things that are happening and to all different degrees, and none of it's the same.
Nope.
But we place judgment on everybody else around us as to like, oh, they're doing better, they're not doing so great, all of these things. And I think that in and of itself is part of the problem, because we kind of perpetuate certain things because we're judging it as not good enough. We're judging it as bad, or we're judging it as, well, that's good, or that's greedy, or that's, whatever it is. And we're spending so much energy on judging all of the things that are happening around us, instead of going inside of ourselves and going, how do I want to live this lifetime? Yeah. I want to live this lifetime lit up and excited by life and willing to help, and in a place where I can help people and I feel healthy and I'm thriving, because that ultimately is going to help other people do that too. Yeah. And there are so many people that it's like there's so many people that are just waiting to have that permission to do that. And they're like, well, if they're suffering, I can't do that yet. But we're going to be of more service, and we're going to help so many more people if we do take care of ourselves, if we do the things that we're yearning to do from the inside out. Like that is where we start. Less energy on judging what's happening out here, and more energy on what's going inside of you. Like, what are the thoughts that you got? Like, what you could be, it doesn't matter how much money you've got in your bank account, there can be still stress and worry about money and about where it's going to come from, and all of the things. It's like we've all got different set points as to like what amount of money is going to cause us stress and worry. And we've all got different amounts of money that we spend on different things that we feel like we need to survive, and we all live in different like parts of the world with different currency. Like, it's all different for all of us, and we place so much external focus on worrying about what we look like and what everybody else is doing. And I truly believe if we place more focus on like how it feels for us, we're going to do better work in this world, and we're going to be able to help a lot more people.
Exact boom. Because we honestly, there's stop with the money, like stop blaming it for everything. We need money to have the life, regardless of what life we desire, what paths we take, where we live. Like you're just saying, we need money for that, right? And I loved that Jen pointed out in her book that money snobbery works both ends of the spectrum.
Oh, yes.
That, you know, like
it does.
Yeah. It's just like the snobbery with the judgment of, you know, how much money I'm making, and if you're not going to help yourself and da 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 da. Or the other side where it's just like, oh my God, they just buy Mercedes Benz, and they just, you know, oh my God, you can easily get that dress at the thrift shop, at the op shop, you know, da da da. Like, really, that's snobbery kind of too. It's on both ends. But really, if you just focused on yourself and what you desire in your life, whether to have adventures and have experiences, you need money for that. Whether to have, you're into fashion, you need money for that. Whether you want to have a legacy or you want to help charities, you need money for that. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. It's focus on yourself and what your desires are, and really work. It's working, creating, surrendering to the universe. There's a lot of work there. It's a whole package of getting what you desire so that you can make the impact in the world, as well as letting others do the same.
Yeah, because it all looks different for all of us.
Exactly.
And this was a big thing for me around making money mean something. There's a quote. I don't know who originally said the quote. I've heard quite a few people say this quote, and it's, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Yeah. So it's like we all have things that we hold on to as like a but. No. And I always say, I'm like that, but there's no buts in being able to live your wildest dreams. Like buts don't live in your wildest dreams. You have to let them go. If you're, you know, you want to call it manifesting, you want to call it, you know, reaching your goals, living your dreams, however whatever turns you on in that wording. Me, it's like my wildest dreams. Hell yeah. But there's no buts that live in there. Like, that's actually the journey that you go on, is to discover what the buts are. Yeah. Because you're like, okay, cool. I've made a decision. I'm going to go travel around Australia with my family and a caravan for a year. And my buts, there was a lot. Yeah, but we don't have a caravan. Yeah, but your business doesn't make enough money to support our family for a whole year if Brendan has to quit his job. Yeah, but I don't think Brendan actually wants to quit his job. Yeah, but we could die because Australia and the animals and the situations. Like, yeah, but you've never camped before. Like, there were so many buts that came up that were just like, this is a terrible idea. Yeah. Like, there are so many things that I like that, you know, and then the whole money situation with that was a big one, obviously, because you need money to do all of the little things. It's like, cool, we just need a caravan. That's awesome. That costs money. Like, we need another car. Yeah, cool. Yeah, but that costs money. So the money in and of itself, like, that was a big part of the work. Is like, the money's actually neutral. It's like, how do you feel and what do you make it mean? And what are the buts that come up that, like, they're the things, that's the job. Like, that's the letting go of the things. That's the your identity shifting. Yes. And when we look at, you know, our mindset, so a lot of people, when they're wanting to shift how they think and how they feel, how they think and grow rich, how they think and how they feel about money, is like, they go, okay, I've got to change the thoughts, because the thoughts I'm having aren't great thoughts. So when you look at like the cycle that happens, is like, you have the thought, you then say the words, you take the action, you get the result. So a lot of the, like, it stems from how you're thinking, really influences the words that you speak and what you speak about. And it's so interesting when you start to become aware of like typical conversations that you have, especially with certain types of people too. Like you have, you know, certain friends that you talk a lot about this about, you know, family members or whoever, that you talk about certain things like, you know, you might talk about, you know, the prices of houses with certain friends because, you know, you're kind of all looking to buy a house, and like the way that you speak about, oh, it's impossible to buy a house in this market. Like, look how expensive the houses are. And like, I know I'm guilty of this, but it's so interesting when you hear yourself say the words, you're just affirming, I can't afford this.
Exactly. That's it.
It's not going to happen for me.
No.
Like, this is going to be impossible. Like, why even bother?
Yeah.
And so your actions will then reflect that, because you're like, you keep saying like, well, it's kind of pointless. Like, why even try?
Yeah.
And then the result is that you don't get to buy a house. And a lot of people, or this is what I did, and I can see this in quite a few ways that people teach, you know, money mindset and all these things. Like, okay, how do we change the things that we think? How do we flip the things that we think? How do we not think that, but think that instead? And it's something really interesting is like, instead of starting with your thoughts, start with your actions.
Yeah.
And it kind of works in reverse. Like, if you act in a way that it's happened,
It's already done.
then yeah, and then you then will talk like that, which will then eventually your thinking will start to be on autopilot. So it's kind of like you get to embody it and move it through your body, and then your brain catches up eventually.
Yeah.
Instead of to get your brain on board, like, just start acting as though, and this is where people say act as if.
Yes.
And, you know, be that first. It's like your actions. What are you doing every single day? And your actions will then influence the words that you speak, which will then influence the way that you start to think as well. And it's not as hard as like, oh, how do I actually like rewire this whole root belief thing? Like, start acting as if. And that is, it's actually a hard thing to do, because it's like a mental game. Your mind's like going, yeah, but, and you're like, I'm just gonna do it anyway. Look, I'm moving my body. And like, this is a lot of what I do in my work with you know, taking self-portraits, is that it's the same sort of thing. You know, it feels uncomfortable. We don't like the way that we look in photos, but we start moving the body and we take the actions and we wait for our brain to catch up.
Yeah. Exactly. And it always does. And all of a sudden you've just moved through something that has probably been a stalwart for years.
Yeah, there's a quote in the book that I really loved, and she said, you can have your ego or you can have your dreams. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm very much like, yeah, I want to live the life of my dreams. It's like, I want to do all the things that my imagination is like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. I'm like, yeah, of course I want to do that. I don't want to be all like, oh, well, but I can't because look where I am right now. I can't because look how much money is in my bank account. I can't because, you know, I have kids. I can't because this is happening right now. I honestly believe that we see these things because they are for us.
Yeah.
And if you keep fighting for your limitations, you get to keep them. Nothing's going to shift and nothing's going to change. I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I've got myself this far doing the same thing over and over again. Like, what happens if I change, like if I did something different? And then I was like, oh, now we're traveling around Australia. There you go.
And look at, and change your, you know, trajectory of your life. And there's a beautiful quote. It can be icky, actually, a quote that can, you know, just go, oh, that's a bit of a tough one, from Elizabeth Gilbert. And she says, you know, don't let me or anybody else take away your suffering if you're committed to it. And there was a time when and I was just like, oh my God, that was just like, wow, boom. You know, the only way we can get past this is to move and to commit to the dreams, commit to you know, take away that suffering. You can do it yourself. You have that power.
It is. There's deeper things that we have too. So
Yeah.
I feel like there is quite a lot of shaming that can go on around this as well. So it's like, you know, you can fight for your limitations or just let them go. Like, it's up to you. And there are situations that people are in that it's not because of their thoughts and, you know, they've manifested it, so to speak, and all of these things. You know, it's not that it's your fault or that you've created this, but we are living in a world that everyone's creating together.
Yeah.
And so we are in a space where, you know, everything was a thought once.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure it was in Conversations with God. There's a book, if you haven't read that one is an amazing book too. And he asked the question, you know, why is there robbery? Why is there rape? Like, why are there actual people that do these things on this planet? Like, why is that actually a thing? If that is like, you know, if we're supposed to be here to live a life that is amazing and abundant and all the beautiful things that we're here to experience, like, why does stuff like that happen?
Yeah.
And it was so, and I was like, yeah, why does that stuff happen? And the response in that book was, well, look at the way that we as a culture demonize sex. We say it's this like bad thing. And if you dress a certain way, then that's not appropriate. And there's certain religions that don't allow you to, you know, be intimate with your partner before you get married. And like, there's so many rules and regulations around expressing your sexuality and all of those things. It's like, we've kind of taken this beautiful, natural thing. Like, okay, having an orgasm is like the best fucking experience on the planet. Like, why on earth would we be put here if we weren't to experience that in its full glory and like have it be one of the most exhilarating, amazing things? Like, you think about, how does your behavior and your nervous system and your whole being and psyche change afterwards? You're like, oh my God, just like, life's amazing, it's bliss. And there's like this spaciousness. And like we're supposed to be like, that's how we reproduce too. Like, it's such a beautiful act, because it's like, that's how we repopulate. That's how we bring like new life to this earth. Yeah. And yet we've created this culture around it being not okay. It's not a good thing. It's not especially if you're female. If you put your hand up and said, yeah, I really love sex, it's like, no, you're a whore.
Yeah, exactly.
You're bad. You're a slut. You're a terrible person.
Yep.
You need to go and lock yourself in your room until you get over that. Like, it just, the way that we have made it such an issue, like, that's where those sorts of behaviors come from, because it's repressed. And it's been, you know, it's something that's so taboo, and people, like, I could just imagine, you know, I've had my own experiences with this, but like, how many people growing up have had such mixed understandings and experiences with sex, and like, what's okay and what's not okay, and consent and all of these things. Like, we don't understand it in its purity. And we're taught not to ask questions when we're young, like, oh, you don't need to know about that, or like, you know, you don't do that until you're older. Like, it's like, but okay, but I feel like this is something that looks fun, or like, I don't know, like, and then we've got, you know, this is a whole other thing for another day, but you got the whole porn industry that's just completely taken something so beautiful and gone, yeah, but this is what it's supposed to be like. And like, that's nothing what it's supposed to be like. That's what's sold. And this is the thing, it's like, the people that sell porn, that work in strip clubs, they're like raking in the money. They make so much money. And then it's like we wonder why we have this association that money is dirty, money is wrong, you got to do bad things to have money.
The parallels of how we grew up with learning about sex is how we grew up learning about money. They were dirty. It's dirty.
Don't touch it.
Nope.
Don't show anybody that you have it.
Nope.
It's not safe.
It's not safe.
Keep it hidden.
Don't be thinking you're too good for yourself if you've got money. Don't
show off.
Don't
buy expensive things and show that money off. You're going to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
So interesting, isn't it?
But you work your fucking ass off every day of your life to get money.
But just enough that it's humble. That it's it's just enough to like cover everything that you do.
Yeah.
But not too much that you have to show it off.
That's right. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And it's going to continually be a struggle because it is like the porn industry. We have, a higher people running this world that are using the power of the dirty thing, what we class as dirty thing, commas, to make the money.
Yeah.
And it's just this vicious cycle because we end up feeling bitter towards them because of all what we have to go through for them to happen, or it's misinterpreted, or we're misinformed, or it's not the truth of it all, like sex, money. So yeah, it's a bloody interesting dynamic, and it's freaking powerful work to really dive into and to fall in love with money like you can fall in love with sex, really.
Yeah, you're just fighting for your limitations, and you're fighting for that suffering when you throw your hands up and you're like, well, that's just the way the world is, and like, just have to keep working hard for my money, and I don't enjoy my job. Like, how many people don't actually freaking love their jobs?
Yeah.
And then and this is the other thing, it's like, if you don't enjoy your job, you'll quite happily accept money to do that job. But then as soon as you go into business for yourself and you're like, I love my work, I love what I do, it's so fun, we feel weird about taking money for it because we're like, oh, it feels too good, I can't take money for that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me give you a mate's rate, let me do a discount. Oh no, I'll do it for free, it's too much fun for me. Like, why would I take money for something that's good?
Yes.
Because we have this huge, like, it's in everything. You look at everything as like, if you do things you don't enjoy, you get compensated for it. Here's some money. You didn't enjoy that? Have some money. It's like, I've got to do things that don't feel good for money. When I want to do something that feels good, I can't accept money for that. That's like, no. And it's so crazy when you actually look at and you decide to take a breather and go, okay, I really want to be good with money. I really want to be wealthy. And I really want to drop the stigma around that being a bad thing and me being a bad human for wanting that.
Yeah.
And let's just take a breather and just actually just notice. Yeah. Like, that's kind of like the first thing to do, is just to notice your thoughts, notice what you say and what other people say. And those conversations when they come up, it feels good to have another human bitch and moan about something that you want to bitch and moan about, and you're in your suffering together, and it's kind of like, it's so fucked, right? And you know what, and this was so bloody expensive. I'm like, I get it. Kind of like, it's so interesting when you're like, it feels so good to bond over that, because it gives you an excuse. It kind of gives you a way out of like, okay, well, I don't need to do anything because that's just the way it is, sort of thing. Instead of going, you know what, I want to change that. I actually don't want that anymore. Yeah. And this is, another thing that Jen says in her book is when she talks about, friends and the people that you surround yourself with. And, a true friend is somebody who's going to celebrate you when you're doing amazing things and you've made the money and you got the success, or you won the thing, or you could, your business has expanded to this next level. And despite like what they're going on, and they're genuinely happy for you. Yeah. And as opposed to like surrounding yourself with people that are there and they celebrate you more when you're needing the help, or give you, that attention. They're like, oh yeah, let me help you out. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, you're doing a good job. Yeah, let's keep like that sort of, and that's great. Like, it's amazing to help each other. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's, those people that will celebrate with you when you're doing well.
Yeah.
Just as much as they're willing to help you out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The savior,
the hero.
And it's not about you at all. So it's, but it's changing the language, changing thought processes. It's changing how you want to feel. And it's very visceral, isn't it? Like, it's really, you can feel it energetically. You can feel it in your body, how you can change that around. The language part is so interesting. Like, you can't, and that is just, that changes so much.
Yeah, just shifting things from like, oh, I can't afford that, to like, that's just reinforcing.
Yeah.
I can't afford that. Like, how many times, and it's so easy when you're like, you notice things like that, instead of, I choose not to buy that right now.
Yeah, that's right. Like, it's really switching it to keeping the money neutral. And you get to choose with your action around that in a positive affirmation. Yeah.
Some of my favorite ones, Amanda Francis has a really good one. She has a book, Rich as Fuck.
Yeah, Rich as Fuck. Yeah.
That's an amazing book too. And one of the ones that she says a lot that I really love is people love to pay me.
Yeah.
Because that was a big one for me. I was like, but that kind of shifted my mentality around, I've got to ask people for money. Like, I'm kind of taking money from them rather than they love to pay me because I'm giving them value. Because I was like, but this is just fun and easy for me. Like, I didn't value it because it was just too easy. Like, I have to work hard for my money. If I work hard, then it's of value. If I'm not working hard, if I'm playing and I'm having fun and it feels kind of like easy for me to do, like, it's not valuable enough for me to take the money. And so people love to pay me is a really, really, really cool one that I love.
Yeah.
And the other one that she says is, my work is of high service and worthy of massive compensation. Like, just reminding yourself. And like, another one that I like to say to myself is, I'm the best at what I do.
Yeah.
Like, literally nobody does what I do like I do. No. I am the best at what I do. Like, remind yourself of that. And we're all here to be different. And it's such a big thing in, building your own brand online. It's like everybody's just trying to be different and stand out. But at the same time, everybody just wants to do the same thing as what everybody else is doing. They're like, I can't do that. It's too different. I need to do it like that because those people do it like that and that's successful. And there's something to be said around, being, smart and doing some smart things with your marketing and all of that sort of stuff. But if you truly want to be different and stand out, it's like, you're the best at what you do.
Exactly.
So do it your way.
Yes. Stand in your own lane. Like, honestly, do it your way. And I guess, just expanding on that a little bit, taking a bit of a different direction, is that focusing on how you're going to make the money, like really trying to work out how I'm going to sell this one thing, or I need to sell 3 of these things, and trying to niche down in that regard, as opposed to focusing what you're going to do with the money when it comes in. Because when we niche down, we are stopping those opportunities that come our way, and we can get money in a different way.
Yeah, it kind of puts the horse blinkers on, because the horse is only going to the finish line. It's like, yep, I need that amount of money and it comes through this way, so let's go. Rather than I would love this amount of money to come in, and when it comes in, how am I going to celebrate it? And focusing on that, it kind of like, money just comes at you from all these different avenues, and you're like, money's coming in this way and this way and this way. Oh my God, I didn't even see that it could come in this way, and here it is. it just really opens you up.
It does, because you become a magnet for money, you know,
and badass.
Yes, and it comes in different ways, and because we're multidimensional anyway, so why aren't we getting money? Why do we believe that we can only get money one way?
Yeah, that's a really excellent question.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I really do. Because the other thing that I've been really playing into as well is that being limited, right? So many people talk about, oh, limitless. And I do, like, we are full of limitless potential. Like, it's unlimited. Like the potential that we have in any moment is so open if you're open to it being.
Yeah.
You know, if you're only so fixated on life being a certain way and looking a certain way and all of these things, you're never going to actually understand, feel, see, or believe that, you know, anything is possible in any moment, and that we're really unlimited with our potential. But the flip side of that, right, we're also limited. Like, we want it, like, in the sense of, like, you're a limited edition. You know how valuable something is when it's a limited edition? Yes. When something's like one of its kind, like there was only one printed of this. There was like, you know, this was like something that was only available for a short amount of time, or, you know, whatever it is, like, you are a limited edition. And like, really protect that.
Yes.
Because we so often want to, like, it's kind of like we have this, I don't know, this thing inside of us that's like, okay, well, I want to stand out, but I can't stand out too much because that's not safe. But like doing all the things that everybody else does, and, you know, you buy all the courses that everybody else does, and, you know, do things their way, sort of thing. And this was something that I was quite early on kind of picked up on. Like, if I was doing a course and somebody said, you have to do it like this, and this, otherwise it's not going to work for you. I was like, yeah, no, I'm out. Because that, like, it might have worked for you because you did it in that exact way, and you might have success with some people doing it that exact same way too, but it just creates more of the same. Like, I really do believe that, you know, working with people who really, you know, encourage you to be yourself and to do things in a way that is your unique flavor, and really like, okay, we're going to, you know, we all do the same sorts of things. Like, we post photos online and we create content and we share what it is that we've got to sell. But like, your voice, your articulation, the words that you use, your presence, your energy, your vibe, how you show up physically, your body language, the way you live, how you dress, the way that you accentuate certain words, like all of these little nuances, like that is gold. Like, that is your limited editionness, and that needs, like, protect that and really allow that to flourish. And then it's kind of like, when you're limited edition, like limitless potential.
That's it. That's it. And then boom, you've got your signature move. And you just keep doing that and using that and keep growing and expanding. And all of a sudden there's just money coming in for you, you know? It gets to be easy.
It doesn't have to be so hard.
No.
Unless you want it to be. So continue saying that it's hard. Back to what I was saying before about, you know, there's certain things that are beyond our control, and there's certain things that happen, but you're always in control of this, like, what you make it mean, and the stories. And you don't have to keep choosing them. You don't have to keep saying them other ways. And if you cannot see it any other way, just say, help me see this another way. Like, how do I see this another way? Like, that's a really beautiful question to ask yourself when you're like, but this is like, okay, how can I see this another way? That just sends out feelers to be like, oh, she wants to see this another way. Okay, let's start showing her other ways. Because sometimes, it's like you've got the blinkers on, but you don't know how to take them off.
Sit in silence and listen to the answers that are coming that are going to come in, you know, and find support. And, you know, you and I both know this in all sorts of realms in our personal development and our business and how we do things, and that when we're so far in something, you can't see your way out of it.
Yeah.
To get the support and go to those people that are going to be that friend or be that mentor guide or a sisterhood or circle where they are happy for you. Each step, each, you know, part of growth, the higher growth that you get to, they're going to be happy for you, but also they can help you see things, because that happens. We are in it. And, you know, like I had my story in my marriage where it was, you know, emotionally toxic, but also it was very controlling. And so I didn't have any money access. I didn't have access to money in the end. And so I know what it's like to feel absolutely stuck. But the only person that got me out of that stuckness was me. And I just switched it and I changed it. But I did take the actions, like I didn't do it alone. I did take actions like seeking a coach and learning and being in a group and learning personal development and confidence and learning about blocks and all sorts of things. But that was... You
made a choice though.
That was my choice, to find those stepping stones, to find those breadcrumbs to get me out. So yeah. I absolutely understand oppression. I understand what it feels like to feel like everything's so noisy and you can't get your way out of it. And it's like easy for you to say, yeah, just make the decision. But I understand that completely. But there is a way out, and there is a way of making money, and there is definitely a way of changing your life.
Absolutely. And on that note, Shonah and I are actually joining forces and creating a mastermind type situation.
Yeah, baby.
# magnetic money. It's coming soon.
Yes. Cannot wait.
So keep your ear holes open for that one. That was kind of a weird thing to say, but
I love it. This is great. Keep your ear holes open.
Keep your ear holes open.
I love it. Yes, I can't wait for it. It's coming up. And yeah, we're working through some stuff, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited for it. So let's jump off this podcast with an awkward goodbye.
As always.
As always. It was a pleasure, Shonah.
Yes.
Thank you for this discussion today, and thank you to our listeners for being with us while we fumbled through it, because we are feeling a little bit rusty after taking a few weeks off. But we're back.
We're back.
Maybe. We've got some cool episodes coming up.
I was just going to say exact same. On the same channel.
Yep.
Have an amazing day, girlfriend. And thank you for everyone that's listening to our podcast up this far. And can't wait for the next episodes. It's gonna be amazing. All right.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Wow, Rose! Wow, Rose!
Wild Rose.